Hey, Amy.
Hey, Angela, here we are again.
We are, and we are. I think we did false advertising. I can be guilty of false advertising because there is actually no Anton Cancre in this show right now.
There was gonna be.
Yeah, that was the plan. He may show up, and then we'll just kind of pop him up, and he can have the deer in the headlights, kind of like, oh, okay, I'm on. But otherwise, we got this.
Yeah. Time zones are tricky, and I'm just lucky that everything that I kind of tell about, hey, 2 Central, it's my time zone. So I'm telling you.
Well, and that's why I still think in Central, because that was the time zone. So did you know, I found out this trick. You can have your Google Calendar in 2 time zones. So, I've got my calendar up, figure out where my camera is. I have my calendar up, and then on the side, it is Central and Brazil time. So I can easily look and be like, okay, 2 Central. Okay, that would be, well, it's 5 for me. So.
Oh, yeah. Because right now it's 2. So you've got them like side by side. You don't have to be like, okay, wait, which of my, okay.
Yeah, because I usually Google, which is kind of pretty easy, such and such time, CST to whatever time I'm in. But yeah, I love that little Google trick that I learned.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I used to always have to Google what time is it in the UK, because I had a couple of artist friends that I would do, they were really young, and I'd be like, oh, well, let's just do a meet the artist, and I'll talk about you and show your stuff and everything. And like I was a famous person, but I did have a little more traction on Instagram than I have lost it. What with, I don't know, life, and I was too weird for them, and that's perfectly cool.
And it's like, dang, life just doesn't understand what's going on here, really. I mean,
it doesn't, and we accept that, and it gives us more poetry.
Exactly.
More songwriting, all of the stuff that we love.
Yeah, and who wants to be an understood poet? I mean, how boring is that?
There's nothing to write about. It's like those rock stars that are like, they get like Oasis, got famous being like, we're from Manchester and we're on the dole, the welfare and everything. Then they're in their videos with fur coats and supermodels. It's like, now what do we write about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're doing okay.
It's okay to struggle. It's better to struggle.
Yes, it gives us something. Well, and I think that is one reason. Sorry, I clicked over to YouTube so I could I'm going to get this book real quick while we're talking.
Cool.
Which is HAIPOO, 7 Poospectives in Poetry, which you would think that I would have a copy of, but I don't, because I had the hard copy.
Yep.
So I am going to get the Kindle copy real quick.
All right.
So I can have it here in front of me. But yeah, I think that's one of the problems with the artists. David Bowie knew what to do, because you get to that certain level and you get that success, and then we're driven by the need to create. So what do we do once we've reached that pinnacle, where kind of like that boring place, which I have not personally experienced, but where everything that you touch is gold? Then what do? You
reinvent. He would reinvent himself, and always, he just had the magic,
Yeah. So that's my plan. If I'm ever like that, I hit that level where, I'm just doing so fabulous. I don't know, like Salvador Dali, I signed a toilet seat and it turned to gold. I'll just reinvent myself. So you'll know, I'll change my name and everything.
Yes, do. That's exciting. I can't wait. I will still be me.
Well, I was going to say, we should, if we ever both reach that point, this is theoretical speaking, folks. Yeah. Oh, wait, Anton just showed up too.
Oh, all right, cool.
Hey, Anton, welcome to the show.
I'm really sorry about that. I messed up on time zones and was thinking.
Time zones are hard. Yeah, we were talking about that.
That there was like 45 minutes left before we were doing this. So.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, no problem. I was actually sitting here trying to buy HAIPOO because I had the hard copy. I never had the e-copy. but I had such limited stuff, like ability to carry things in my suitcase, that I don't actually have a copy. So now I have to go get it on ebook, which, if you're looking at the show right now, is in the descriptions. The link to that book, the link to all Anton's books, the link to Amy's site. Amy has Etsy and books on Amazon. Anton has books on Amazon. But since you just muted yourself, Anton, tell us about yourself.
I was muting myself because I keep having to say things to my wonderful little puppy here about knocking the camera around and everything. So
this is, if you haven't figured out, this is super casual. We usually have dogs barking or some kind of chaos happening. So not worried.
Yeah.
So he will be in this. So sorry, what was I supposed to be
just tell us about yourself. I was just talking about your books and everything, and then I'm like, well, you would actually probably be a little more of an expert than I am on that. So
sure. I don't know. I'm just an idiot. I don't like. I do things. I write poetry and also short stories, and have started dabbling in nonfiction. In addition to that, I am an educator, specifically working in a juvenile correctional facility, which is interesting, especially given. Will you stop knocking this around? I'm petting you while we're doing this.
I thought Anton was adjusting the, like, let me just get a better angle here. And
no,
the dog.
I mean, it's just gonna keep happening. I should just accept that he's gonna just periodically
just go with it.
Yeah,
it's like your special effects happening back there.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Like, given how obsessed I am with broken people, working in that kind of environment just feeds that more, because I mean, every one of the kids that I work with, even the hardcore thugs, are like, there's a reason that they're the way they are, and a lot of them, a good amount of them, have no choice. There are some that have done really messed up things in their life because they don't know any better. And I mean, there are also some that are just messed up human beings in general. So that is an interesting situation to be working in. So yeah, I don't know. That's what about me. I don't.
That's awesome though. I'm glad you're doing that. I kind of grew up one of those broken kids, one of those broken, messed up, terrible people. And so I'm always like, even when I get mad at somebody, I always think of who I was. And I would look at me now and go, man, there is no hope for that chick. Just, get rid of her. Like, just don't have anything to do with her. I'd like to hope that I turned out okay. So
yes, you did.
Well, thank you. Amy is here to let me know I did okay.
You did great.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
But, there's just like, they are great people. They're probably going to be some of the best people. That is not me going on like myself, like, oh, because look, but they just, like, the people I've known, the more messed up you are when you're kind of in that stage, you wind up being really awesome later because you know how to get through all the rhetoric and the crap.
If you do get through all the rhetoric and the crap.
No, if you do get through. So hopefully, everybody does, but. And then things took a dark tone.
Yeah. Sorry, that's the fun of, like, I had a couple weeks ago, one of the students was pointing to, we have a wall of students that actually graduated high school within our facility, pointed to that and started going down with it, like, yep, they're dead, they're in prison, that person's dead, that person's dead, that person's in prison, that person's dead. Like, that was like, I was sitting here celebrating, like, here are people that, like, managed to get, nope, okay, fine. There's a lot of heartbreak involved in that, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. You do what you can for people while they're with you, and then hope for the best afterwards. Kind of what goes with education anyways. You're working with especially when you work with teenagers, you're working with people at the worst they will ever be as human beings, because all teenagers are horrible, and all of us were horrible as teenagers. I don't care how great you think you were horrible. People,
I know I was.
you were
Hopefully you
unpleasant to be
ended
around.
though and developed into an actual person,
Yeah,
didn't
like,
remain horrible.
most people get better on there. It's important to remember that, but also knowing that, like, you do what you can in that moment, but then they're gonna leave. They're gonna go do whatever things they're gonna do out of their lives, and that's not anything you have any say over, any control over.
Yeah.
Super happy stuff. Will you stop knocking this around?
What were you going to say, Amy? You had something you were bringing.
I was going to say that I don't know Anton that well, but my memory of him is when during the pandemic we were doing a Zoom poetry reading, and we would go kind of round robin and read our poems. And I know the second, like, Anton was reading these like gloriously like dark and with like effective voice and things. And the second time, Anton, you're going, and I'm reading my dark poetry, and guys, am I too angry? Like at the end, you just like went into, like, at the end of the poem, you went into this gentle persona about, oh no, everybody else is a little bit more, lighthearted. And we were like, no, you have to, like, if I didn't have my angry poems, and if I didn't have my like gut-wrenching poems, I would, like, somebody would be, I would probably be alone. Nobody would be able to stand to be around me and stuff, because I would carry that on the inside and then bring it out in, kicking somebody's ass or whatever, you do.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's an effective medium for you. But I just remember like being shocked at your change in tone when you were like, now I'm doing my poem and now I'm just talking to the gang. And so that's my memory. So you
I
never
remember
know.
that.
You never know how you're touching these kids, and what they're taking with them from you, somebody who showed interest. And even if their end is not what you wanted it to be, or if they're in prison still, there's hope for them, to remember things that you put forward, and for things to turn around. But even if they were just here for a short time, it was, I have to believe with my faith that it was for some reason. But sometimes things don't make sense, at all. They just don't, and they suck, and they're unfair. But you're being a light,
I think darkness. For me, that's most of life. Is it's unfair and it sucks. So that's why we make jokes.
Yeah. Yep.
Because we have to laugh at it. So
yeah.
And was that the same round robin that the HAIPOO thing came out of?
Yes,
it was.
So you see all of these times of, like, trying to be all, or being over serious, and then somewhere from that, one of the best worst ideas I ever had that
I just told my son about it. I'm like, why haven't I got? That's good. Like, he's getting that for the next occasion. I'm like, you need this, because he was enchanted. I was driving to some scout thing this morning, and he's like, I was like, oh, did I tell you about this? I forgot about this. And I said, when the idea first came up, just, hey, let's go round robin and do poo poems. I was like, oh my gosh, right before this, I was changing my cat's litter box and my earbud fell into the cat litter. So I'm like, I'm ready. I am going to just write that one out. And that was just for the round robin. But then, then this other idea you had grew into a book.
I think there might need to be a HAIPOO too. I'm just saying. I'm not sure how widely accepted HAIPOO 1 is, but I think it's a fabulous idea.
There's probably more.
I got, but I need to have it on the front as a blurb. And of course, now I'm forgetting what the person said. So I think it was something about a turdrific collection. That was at a Confusion a couple weeks ago when I was up at that one of the people at a reading referred to as awesome. Like, oh, that has to go on there. That is
awesome.
And I've had some other people, like, since then say, like, ooh, I'd love to do something like this. So maybe at some point.
Well, you have my support. Like whatever you need for me, yes. I think you can count on Amy and I both to be into the HAIPOO. We
Oh
support
yeah,
HAIPOO.
I should just get that for everybody for Christmas next year in
Yeah.
my family. I'm always confusing my husband's side of the family anyway, so this is happening.
Let me expand your reading taste. I mean,
That's
maybe you
right.
don't want to taste, but
But did you
Yeah.
know what's out there? You've been a little narrow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and given that some of the poems do have a fair amount to do with taste,
yes.
might want to
But
keep that in mind when you're thinking about what relatives to give that to.
Yeah.
It's true. I'll give it another look.
That's
Well,
one
yeah.
of my favorite things that whenever I'm selling copies around at places and I'll have people come over, I'm like, ooh, I bet my kid would love this. He loves poop jokes. And so I'm like, well, this is how we're gonna find out. And then I go ahead and read the ass eating poem to them. And like, if you're okay with your
With
kid
this.
reading this,
He will
then you're
laugh
fine.
Yeah.
He loves those jokes. I mean, he's
But
17, so
17's
he's in the
fine.
end.
Yeah, then
He's old
then
enough.
we're good.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
he won't
makes
learn
those
anything
jokes.
new from it.
That's
But I've had people
Yeah.
like their little kid
Like if they're
comes over and
9.
like, ooh, and they're like, let's talk to some parents first. I don't
Sidebar,
want them
Your
coming
Honor.
after me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and that's the thing though with that collection is it kind of seems like like jokes, like it's very funny, and it is very funny at times, but there are some pretty poignant, kind of darker, I mean, we're talking about crap, and there's all
Mhm.
kinds of like metaphors. I mean, yeah, so it can be pretty dark too, from what I
Yeah, it can.
remember.
Yeah,
Both
there
ways.
were some that people really pulled some really emotional things out in that I was very happy to see, but very obviously surprised at.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, still stand on the social commentary of all the fecal ladies.
Oh, yeah.
That is my go-to whenever I'm reading things from that. I always pull that one out, and
That's awesome. All right. Well, so you heard it here first that there's probably going to be a HAIPOO too. That's what I heard out of this conversation.
I don't recall having said probably.
I feel like I heard that
Most
somewhere.
Just the vibe came
I
through.
feel like that was Angela saying she's gonna volunteer to edit this one.
That could happen. That could happen.
And then yes, then I will support it by all means. I'll help out with all the other ends.
Was that a lot of work to do that? Because I know that on this end it can be pretty intense.
It was a fair amount of work to get some of the people that were involved started off real strong and then got really worried that they weren't like going to be able to come out with the amount that they needed.
No pun intended.
So there was there was some constipation issues. And so luckily I am chock full of fiber. I spew enough horrendous shit that I was able to help them kind of figure out things to do. And then it worked fine, but there was a good amount of that. And initially trying to find the publisher was a little bit of a struggle because some people wanted like one of the publishers that I went to that would have been really fun to work with, but they wanted something very different from it than what I had pictured and what I had talked to you about and all that. Like they wanted like a full out anthology of like 100 things from all these different people that like I had to point out to them like, if we're paying pro rates for
That's
that, this is going to be a real expensive book then. And broke down the costs at that point, and then they were a bit more leery of it. Also, they've started getting a little bit more serious attention, so I'm sure there were some people that were like, well, maybe if we have the book about poop, that won't look as good for us. Like, okay. But it's, I mean, still worked out fine with working with Michael Cieslak and Dragon's Roost. First off, he's a great guy to work with, but also I knew that I know him. And the second I said just a book chock full of poop, he was just there 100%. I mean, he's that kind of guy that if you have a weird idea, knew somebody else that wanted to do a anthology of queer horror erotica. And I was like, well, I think I know the guy for you. Went ahead and introduced the two of them. And his immediate response was yes. Why am I not already doing this?
Why is the cover not designed?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a nice thing with working with them. So yeah, I think that was probably part of the toughest part, that and like helping people out. So yeah, if you're willing to be the one patting people on the back and helping them through things, by all means, then
Okay.
I will provide whatever other support is needed.
So I believe that position is called, would that be like the poet enema? Like you're trying to help the poetry come out in its rawest and most natural states?
Poenema?
Yeah, poenema. So it's not a poetry editor in this case, it's poenema.
You got it. You got your title.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, it's kind of to that point in the show where we're going to find out, do you guys want to read some poetry?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
We got poetry.
Yeah.
Give me just a second, because of course my books are just out of reach this way. And so I'm gonna turn off my camera for a moment so that I can go get those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's no reason for any of you to believe that I'm wearing any pants right now.
I was just thinking he must not have pants on. Freedom.
Dang it! I wish I could control the camera.
Yeah, we know what we're poets, and it's you get all of it. You get
exactly,
all of it.
Literally all of it.
It'll become the next pizza box nude for the art part of the segment.
Which I haven't forgotten. I still owe you that. I am going to do that. I will say we have a pool now, and skinny dipping may be happening in that pool regularly. So I think the nude thing may be a lot easier.
Have someone take a shot. I'll draw it on a pizza box. It's kind of this thing I do sometimes.
So. Yeah. I just it was hard to be nude in, I'm going to say, Missouri. There's just a lot of reasons not to be nude in Missouri.
There's a lot, and you lived in an area where you wanted to be under the radar a little bit more.
Yeah, just mostly not frozen. So
it's cold here. It's cold today. It's like, I don't know, 30. I don't know what it is. Fahrenheit for those not Fahrenheiting.
I think it's 30 Celsius here. So.
And what's that in Fahrenheit again?
I think about 85 to 90.
Damn. It's too hot.
I know. It is. Yeah. Anyways, we won't go there. Because then I'm going to sound like that person. I know. Well, I have to go dip in the pool. Ugh, it's so warm today.
That's okay. You can say that. I lived in Texas for 3 years, and I was just like, the entire time, I'm like, no, it's friggin' too hot here. I hate it.
Well, I will say I have turned into that person that the bra. Nope, that is not happening.
That's Angela. That is my main problem. And Anton, my main problem is I'm starting a part-time library job on Monday, and for the past 2 years, I've been an artist poet. To wear a bra now and actual clothes. I could push that.
Why are you going to do this, Amy? I'm just like,
because of my bossy ass husband. Period. Okay. Why can't I just sit around in the bathtub and write poetry and eat chocolate? Damn it. Okay, so basically, he doesn't think that I'm living up to my potential.
that sounds like great potential. Honestly, that sounds like 100% great potential.
I'm setting a precedent for slow down, everyone. Write some poetry, eat some chocolate. My public service announcement.
I feel like Anton is in agreement with this.
I would be entirely behind that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my wife's sitting off to the side. Just no.
Oh, my husband's not in the house. He's at work.
Like,
sorry, Lord.
I'm already seeing, like, if any of us is sitting around getting to lay in the bathtub eating chocolate, poetry or no, it's gonna be me, not you.
Some people in our households, I'm just speaking for myself, it may be true for you as well, have so much energy, like where they like have that. It's like I have creative energy, My husband has like, I got to be out and be around people energy, and I can take that or leave it. So I mean, he's best utilized out there. Thank God he doesn't watch my poetry.
Well, this is the price of not watching, is we get to talk about you all we want.
Yeah.
So that's like, for the viewers, watch this show or we will talk about you behind your back. That will happen.
Man. I am gonna get it on Judgment Day, man. I'm gonna get it.
All right, we'll swing it back, because that was our goal this year, Anton. As we said, we're going to start doing short, succinct shows.
Short, yes.
Because we can just meander on about like not wearing bras or whatever.
Chocolate, yeah, in the bathtub.
As you've probably noticed. So we're going to bring it back to poetry.
Yes.
Who wants to read first?
Save my soul. Anton. Yeah.
Okay. Then, since we already talked about this stuff anyways, I'll go ahead and read one of the poems from Haiku.
Yes.
Specifically, I'll go with, if I can find, All the Fecal Ladies, because that is my absolute, like, I love everything in this. Huge shout out to not just Angela, Donna Monroe, who wrote this poem that I'm getting ready to read, Sarah Hans, that was great to work with, Jesse Wolf, that added in some marvelous stuff in there too, and were a lot of fun. And also 2 former students of mine, not at the juvenile correctional facility. I'll mention this. This was before I started working there. They're reprobates, but just in a different fashion. They never got caught. But Kate Ingram and Connor Muddiman, that wrote some of the craziest crap in this. It's marvelous. I was so happy to
awesome.
Get to see that. Get to see that coming out of them. Everything. There's no way that I can say anything that doesn't sound like a problem.
Once you start talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't going to point that one out, but
it just keeps coming and coming.
So don't adjust.
We'll go ahead and do this one. Now, this is a quadric, so it does actually have 4 haikus in it, just so you're not arguing with me over the length.
I don't argue over haiku.
I know some people that are very, very particular about what constitutes, and I'm not one of those people. I just want to have fun with words.
Yeah.
But this is All the Fecal Ladies from Donna Monroe. Women don't shit. We are aliens made of pure light. Poop is beneath us. Bring a matchstick and strike it. Run the water, the fan, and flush with each drop. We're taught to hide, pretend, demur, hold it in, save it for marriage. Shit is more precious than a hymen. It's true commitment. It's love.
That's brilliant.
Oh,
yeah. So much stuff gets unpacked and said in that poem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the fact that it's still got there's some hefty stuff going on there, but it still keeps a light tone. Like Donna is,
I love her,
so great. And she's such a wonderful human being, in addition to being an amazing writer. So I love being able to share her stuff.
Yeah. Well, and see, she's not watching, I bet. That's why we get to talk about her. But only good.
Well, then, Donna is just I can't come
here
up
we
with
go.
something mean to say about her. That's cool.
I can't. Donna is an awesome person. Awesome human being. All right. Well, thank you for that reading. I love that. All the Fecal Ladies. I have to go find that now in there, because I read them at the time, but now I've forgotten. So yeah, that is link in the description. I have to go there and get my copy as soon as we're done. Like my second copy, but my digital copy, so I can actually keep it.
Yeah.
All right, Amy, what have you got?
Okay, let's see. I have one related to that subject that I didn't think I was going to have one, and then I had one this morning. Okay, and that also sounded like, but anyway.
For the rest of the day, everything is going to be a poop, pun, or metaphor.
Like when I worked at the college radio station, and I was just this like wide-eyed innocent, and everything I said was a sex joke to them, and I was like, what? Yeah. So now I'm hyper aware of that. Okay, not as much as I used to be. Okay, lovers all shunned amid eliminations, whether real or dreamt. Now that's supposed to be. No, I'm not going to interpret it. Boom.
I heard
So, yeah.
elimination, and I immediately went back to.
That is what is intended there. I was going for the, like, as women are taught to hide.
Yeah,
I was going for the absolute prettiest word, for it and everything. But it's like, can't even imagine like pooping in front of a lover. Like, or I just don't. When I was, let's just get down to it. When I was birthing, okay,
Here it comes.
Here it comes. I was a gigantic hippie and going for the natural birth, which I did do. It was 9 pounds, 12 ounces, you guys. But anyway, the point is I'm on the birthing ball and like birthing and apparently I birthed a little poo and didn't know it. And my husband goes, "Uh-oh, did you poop a little?" I was like, I was so in the hippie birthing zone. I was like, yeah, and he's like, wiped it off. So sometimes now, because there are places where we obviously are a little bit like dynamite, it's just kind of our relationship. If he's like, "Hey, could you do this for me, whether I deserve it or not?" I'm like, "Oh man, you wiped the poop when I was birthing. It's fine."
It's the ultimate expression of love.
Yeah, because he's a therapist and he has troubled children who will occasionally like poop in the room. And that is like, for him, that's like me substitute teaching and having that kid vomit. Oh God.
Yeah,
like,
Amy,
no.
like a vomit phobia, so we don't joke about that on this show.
Well, here's what you don't joke about. Hopefully you don't. Okay, my sister used to always threaten to be car sick on me, and she was a puker. If we weren't listening to her music. Okay, so I've had some cruelty. So just don't like pretend you're gonna barf, and if you are gonna barf, you just please mute it, and I'll look away. Okay, it's cool.
Give you like a 10-minute warning. Okay, barf happening in 10,
10 minutes. Yeah, 10 seconds, and I'll be like, "Goodbye. I'm in the backyard." Okay, the door is closed. Yeah, it's weird. There's a lot of. That's how everybody expressed themselves in my house. I think any emotion except me. I was like Jerry Seinfeld. I haven't vomited in 14 years. Anyway,
that's probably why we're friends, because I just have it's just something I don't do, so no matter what.
Thank you. That's good. It's a good place to be.
Yeah. All right. I actually don't have a poem to share because I don't. I'm sorry. But I do have news to share. And that is, how I get those things where I'm like, "Oh, you know what would be a really good idea? Let's do this thing." So this week I up and decided, the thought started, I wish I could publish more poetry, but pages cost money. And I was like, "Oh, what if I just did it on my blog?" So, because that's free. Well, it's not, I think it's like $7 a month or something, but pretty much free. So I started the publisher showcase. So I'm like running submissions, picking a poem every month. There's no pay. Sorry, because I am a poet and I make poet pay, which is like nothing. But I did actually just get a $300 payment for something, and I paid all the other poets and stuff. But anyways, we don't need to get to. Yeah, these are the answers of why am I poor? Huh. So anyways, there's no payment, but I'm doing a video reading, so you can either read in person or I can do like a movie video of the reading, and I have the first one. And so if you want to contribute to that, the link is in the description as well. And that is what we're going to close out on today, because I don't have a poem to read. I mean, I do, but I don't really feel like digging around, and I don't want to follow you guys up because that's like so anticlimactic. We've had poo, and then I don't know where my poo poems are right now. And then we'll be like, and then Angela read something about death. Way to be a mood spoiler.
I have a song coming up in one of my podcast episodes. It's going to be about some death. And so I was like, awesome. Yeah, let's channel a little Angela. Yeah.
I will find it very delicious.
I love it. Good luck.
So, before we go, though, I want each of you to kind of tell me what you're up to, what can we expect from you, where to find you, do that whole self-promo thing so that we can all come and buy all the things. All the things. Who wants to start?
Go, Anton.
Okay.
Anton. There we go.
Sometime relatively soonish this year, I'm going to have a nonfiction book coming out, an in-depth analysis of the first Silent Hill game. And when I say in-depth, I mean like 250 pages. I went overboard with that. But I'm really obsessed with that game and wanted to kind of dig into how it deals with trauma, how it deals with resilience, how it uses the specific medium it's with to broach that in a way that resonated at least really heavily with me. But I don't know for certain when that's going to be coming out. The plan was initially in March, because I was going to try to time it alongside of Konami doing the putting out the remake of Silent Hill 2, but they apparently have changed their release dates, so I don't know if I'm going to try to tie it to that or not. But at some point in time this year,
That's
yeah,
cool.
it's done. We just have to figure out those details. So that's helpful, right?
Yeah. Where would we find out more details? Like, where can we watch for this?
Well, that's going to be out through Dragon's Roost Press. So
Okay.
Dragon Roost Press website's pretty easy to go through. I'm on the usual social media things, the Facebooks and the Tweetsers and the Instagrams. I have a really, really Luddite website that's a blogspot website. So it's antoncancre.blogspot.com, I think. That I occasionally update things on. Those are probably the easiest ways to find out.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, I'm going to look for that. That sounds cool. I have not played the game, so I have to play the game and then
and that's one of the problems is it's really hard to get a hold of be able to play it legally now. In all honesty, it's one of the we're at the point where I'm in favor of piracy in that circumstance because the company made it clear that they're not going to support not even able to get old versions on Steam or anything like that.
Why?
That
I mean, that's probably sounds like a whole lot to unpack, but why?
It's just not liking money, I guess. I don't know. However, there are some people that did very good emulators of it that you can get, and I won't call those people out because legality, but I don't know how that's the only way you have to be able to experience that. I mean, you can find Let's Plays online. The issue that it misses with that is there is especially the first two games in that series did a really good job of working in the things that change endings reflect things about how you're playing it and what that says about the character in there, and can actually how you're approaching it can actually create, or at least for me, create a different sense of the narrative, even though the bones of the narrative are still the same. It's an odd, very well done thing that you're unfortunately not going to be able to get from watching somebody else go through it. I've heard the same thing about Shattered Memories, and I never got a Wii, so I didn't have the ability to play Shattered Memories, and so I don't get to have that experience, and I'm very sad because that too is not accessible in any legal means.
I'm sorry. Sorry, on a dark note.
Rant over. I'm sorry. I get annoyed at those things. Video games are art, and we don't have any way to properly. There's no museum structure or anything like that. So many of those pieces of art, as technology moves forward, just kind of get left.
Yeah. Well, yet.
Then they're just gone.
Yeah, but yet, because that could be a thing, that could happen because there was no museums. You know what I mean? It always has to start somewhere, and maybe that is your calling.
I was going to say.
I don't know how to do any of that technological backup thing and figuring out how copyright affects things. I'm no.
You'll find the person.
I will support anybody that wants to do that in any I will move chairs in your office It's about all I'm qualified to do, but I will do that.
He'll move the chairs.
Awesome. Well, how about you, Amy? What you got coming up? Where can we find you? Sell all your stuff.
Okie dokie. Okay, so like I have a rudimentary website called amyzoellersart.com. And the deal is here's my sad story quickly. I got a really awesome laptop, like in a whatever it is, Black Friday sale, okay? But because my husband and my father-in-law know all about computers, they have this resource that is secondhand laptops. And they're great. This one was great, but I, in my improvisational exuberance, and I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, jammed an adapter from a massage chair pad right into the port, thinking it was my charger. It wasn't, and I broke it. So I got a refund, but and then I actually swapped it out, but they just sent whatever, and it was one of those now if you have a keyboard like this, I'm sorry, I don't mean anything by it, but it was one of those where it's like it's this black keyboard that doesn't light up, and the first one lit up. I can't go back from that, but then there's this nipple right in the middle that's supposed to be a mouse. I'm like, what the gumdrops? And the audio didn't work, so we sent it back and got a refund, but I've done nothing with it because it was freaking, hey, these are the get what you get secondhand laptops. We don't have that cool one now. And also, you're not going to get it for the Black Friday price. So I dug my own grave on that. And all the people that are like, Squarespace, oh my God, it's so easy. I can't figure out how to do a blog in it. And so I set it up one day, and now I go back to try to do it. And I'm like, where was that? So they never have dealt with me and my tech problems. So I was going to be like, yeah, when my laptop comes, I'll do that. And then that all went to hell in a handbasket. And so, but if you go to, the point is, if you go to amyzoellersart.com, there's a little thing at the top that'll take you to my Instagram, @hitmiss_and_outrage. It'll take you to my Etsy shop, which is Hitmiss and Outrage. It'll take you to my YouTube, which sometimes has songs on it. And it'll take you to whatever else, like is there anything else? I don't even know. It doesn't take you to my podcast because that's on Anchor. I was going to put it through my website, but I can't figure it out. I can figure out how I post it tomorrow. So the sob story of people who just can't do technology and don't care. So I'll never be anyone because I can't do the technology and I don't care.
So, if you want to go see this Luddite website, apparently that we've been hearing about, that link is in the descriptions.
Thank you.
I'm going to go find yours, Anton, and link it in the description so everybody can see these websites. And everybody will probably say, oh, those are cool. It looks better than my website.
Mine just doesn't do anything. It's got like some art and some links. It's like you can't get to a blog. A gallery where I could
art and links.
Sell my art for $300, which I like, what? That'd be awesome. Guys, I got art that's worth $300. Okay, just so you know.
Yeah, I know. If you have $300 out there and you want to buy some art, go visit these websites, buy all the books.
I'll send you that eyeball.
Buy all the things. Yeah, that eyeball you can buy.
Perry Mason's eye. So you know.
Okay.
Raymond Burr.
All right, that will be in the links. And then I just want everybody to go and submit a poem because I'm going to pick the second poem tonight and announce that. It's not really a winner because it's not a contest, but that selection. I can only do one because I do also have a life. Mostly, somewhat, kind of. But it involves no bras right now. So that's a good thing.
Well, my job's only 12 to 18 hours a week. So
I'm gonna be suffering with both of you, when you're doing I guess not with the bra thing necessarily, Anton, but the whole grinding, not sitting at home eating chocolates in the bathtub. Not that I'm doing that, but
right.
But
you could.
Well, I don't have a bathtub, in the shower would be good. Yeah. I'm gonna go eat chocolate in the shower.
I watched one of those episodes of Thriller, that Boris Karloff, Thriller, and this woman got murdered in the bathtub, and she like collapsed into the bathtub, and like water got all over her chocolates, and I was just like, oh no, it was sad.
I'm still
yeah, they might be a little soapy and melted, but
a little bit of blood is okay. So.
That's our girl. That's our Angela.
Awesome. All right, and I will be putting both of these links to your websites in the description. And I guess, we promised to be concise. We're only 10 minutes after the latest that we said we were going to do. That's not too bad. I'm going to say I'm
Not
pretty
bad.
proud of us. Amy and I have been known to crap on for a couple of hours.
Couple of hours when we
over
first started.
poetry. So
Mhm.
you're all getting off lucky today.
Mhm.
So I think everybody, and then coming up next week is Lee Murray talking about In Quiet Spirits, which is that Asian anthology. And then the next week is Eric Shapiro talking about his movie Tight Stir that he's making right now. And then I have a witch, an Umbanda Brazilian witch coming on here. I think the next week. I have to go look at my schedule, but so there's some really cool things coming up. If you want to tune in every Saturday, same time that you're watching it now. Otherwise, see you next week. And thank you, both of you, Anton and Amy, for being here. I love both you guys. You already know that. Your shit doesn't stink to me.
Yes. Finally,
and we want
somebody said it.
more. We need more poo poetry.
Truth.
All right, we're going to sign out with Laura Kester Duerrwaechter with Laundry, which is the poem that was selected to be the first one of this poetry showcase thing. So, all right. Bye, guys.
An original poem by Laura Kester Duerrwaechter to kick off the new publisher showcase, featured on AngelaYSmith.com. Laundry. The fractals of my life cause me wonder. Free will, so like negative space on the canvas, interrupts a purposeful agenda. Ancient and far from memory, there were patterns of destruction, innocence lost. And yet, resilience feeds the bated breath of my eternal soul. Chores compete with a bucket list which grows shorter every year. I am no longer desirous of becoming any more than what I am, and leaves me wondering, is there more to life than simply wash, rinse, and repeat?